Diablo 4 Season 2 is a trap. I honestly think it's a coin toss at this point, but let's see.
Is a trap.
It's hog, baby. This is basically just what I expected to see from Blizzard. Well, maybe except for the Diablo 4 is going on Steam announcement that they have. But this is just about what I expected.
I was surprised by the Diablo 4 on Steam as well.
Diablo 4 on Steam already? That's just so much desperation. Yeah.
I thought it was only going to be Overwatch.
Expected to see a bunch of bug fixes, quality of lives, and broken feature fixes in the guise of seasonal content.
Yeah.
This guy gets it. This guy knows what he's talking about. He understands. He knows what's up.
With a mediocre seasonal theme.
Yes.
And powers and all that.
Yeah, sure.
It's a trap. The reason I say it's a trap, and I get the same feeling. This is exactly what happened in Diablo 3. This is live service in a nutshell. This is really more like live game development is what we're seeing.
Yeah, I really agree with that language, because like live service would imply that they're like, you service a car.
Asmongold, let him speak. You're not gonna add anything useful for this conversation, okay? This man has already bent you over and completely spanked you once on the most basic concepts of life. Do you want that to happen again?
Right? And you service a car whenever the car breaks down. And in order for a car to break down, the car has to be working and finished in the first place, right? This is...
Yeah, that's a horrible analogy, because no, for a car to break down, it doesn't need to work in the first place.
Live game development. This is like your car has 2 wheels, and they finally introduced a patch where they can put 3 on. And whenever they have 4 wheels, bro, it's going to be a completely different world.
They're fixing little tiny bits.
Yeah, live game development.
And we keep going back. All this is a trap to get you to come back.
It is.
For monthly active users. That's...
It always is, boy. It literally, not even joking, it always is.
It's literally...
If they trap me, and I like being in a trap, it's okay, though. It's okay if I get trapped as long as I'm having fun.
Yeah, all this is. Yeah, there's going to be some minor fixes, and they made the horse go a little bit better, but if you push all that aside, okay, it's just little minor things. If you push all that aside, what has really changed in the game? Besides Duriel, which is a recycled asset, which is totally fine. You know, besides...
I mean, he does have new attacks, so technically it might as well honestly be a new asset. Hey, if you reskin Duriel to, for example, a floating box, congratulations, it's a completely new thing in the game, technically. So the fact that it's Duriel just, you know, makes it Duriel, and that's why it feels like it's a reskin thing. Man, they did our boy Duriel dirty, though. Just a random, small, minor, no one cares boss in an act in a position where that didn't even matter. Bruh, really? I understand he's not one of the top 3, but still.
It's a couple other things that they showed us in the PowerPoint presentation.
Other recycled assets.
Is it really going to hold your interest that long? Because here's the elephant in the room with the...
Well, I don't think it will, and I think that Blizzard knows that. That's why they made the leveling to 60 or 100 40% faster. I think that they know that the game is losing people's attention too fast, and they don't really know what to do about that yet, because like Blizzard's in a very weird position with Diablo 4, because they have an audience of people that are very serious about playing the game, and then they also have an audience of people that don't know what...
Well, they obviously want to retain you, but buffing the experience by 40% or whatever, yeah, it makes sense, because... You know, otherwise, the moment, the 5 minutes after you hit the max world tier, there's nothing to do except get the Paragon points. So, you know, the whatever points they're called, I think they are called Paragon points. You know, those things. That's it. Other than that, there's nothing really to do.
What a season is. So it's like Blizzard's trying to please 2 like diametrically opposed audiences of people that are like the complete opposite.
Vampiric powers. They're what they call them, agnostic, which means everybody uses the same thing.
Yeah.
Which means there's gonna be a meta, and guess how boring that's gonna turn into real quick.
The vampiric powers I talked about, they're a failure already in my book, because think about it. How many interesting cage hearts would you have if there weren't class-specific cage hearts? And the only reason class-specific cage hearts were a success was because necromancers had one interesting one, and that's pretty much it. But other than that, think about it. Think about it. How interesting would it be if there were no class-specific cage hearts? And that's exactly what they're doing with the vampiric powers. There's no specific, you know, necromancer vampiric powers or anything like that. It's just all baseline, borderline the same. So that already means that the vampiric powers are going to be super boring, and they're going to pretty much boil down to, oh, this deals 10% more damage now. Yeah, it's not going to be great.
That's going to be a bore festival, right?
As long as the meta is, like, not just one or two of them. Like, for example, if you have, like, 12 powers and 5 of them are really good for endgame, then it's okay. But the problem is, like, whenever it's...
If you have 12 powers and 5 of them are good for the endgame, that's exactly 5 slots you have. That's a bad example.
Only one that's good for endgame. That's what sucks.
No. No. Maybe he doesn't know that you have 5 slots for vampiric powers. But no, if you have 5 slots for vampiric powers and everyone instantaneously is picking 5, the exact 5 no matter what, that's the failure, okay? If you have 1 slot for vampiric power and there's 5 things that you want to socket in there, that's a success. That's what he means. He completely just fumbled what he said there. That's what he actually means.
So, adding a streamer mode for the 193 channels that stream this, and you know, adding an extra stash instead of a stash tab, and making gems and material. Like, do you notice how ridiculous they go out of their way to do things and make it overcomplicated? We didn't care about having a damn gems go to materials, and then it makes this thing like that's just another way for us to spend more money in the game.
Well, to be fair, I actually think that people did want the gems to be in inventory. Like, people did want that. That actually is a thing that players did want. They asked for that a lot. Now, it's become less of an issue because, like, we've seen kind of, like, the whole context of, like, what the game is. But the gem tab was a very, very requested thing, even inside of the beta for the game.
Yeah.
Well, gold we're talking about, not real money, gold. But I just want a tab. I just want a gem tab. All they do is put a gem tab. They can't do that because the code's so fucked. But so that's why we got another, what'd they say, another stash in every major capital. So what does that mean? 2 extra stashes? So what I want...
No, that's just... No. That's literally just for the increased, like, usage. Like, I don't think we're getting a new stash entirely. It's not like it's like Rust, for example. Like, each box has different stuff in it. But yeah, it's just different locations.
Yeah, seems
to
like
see
it.
Was changes to the game.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense that some locations don't have stashes if that's the locations that you go for. The cage heart thing, you know, the crafting stuff. Bruh, that was so stupid. Why don't you have it, like, in every location?
Right, because if you don't play Season, then none of this matters. And I know a lot of y'all are going to say, well, who doesn't play Season? Well, there's a lot of people that don't play Season.
To be fair, actually, I will say in Blizzard's defense with this, Blizzard actually did add a, they're adding this new stuff, like the Duriel stuff, they're adding it into the base game, into the Eternal Realm. They explicitly said that in the video, which was good. I'm very glad about that. I think that's just...
Oh, yeah, obviously. Obviously. The Season of Blood is the Season of Blood, not the update that comes with the... Yeah, obviously it's going to be in the base game. Yeah, obviously.
It's an improvement.
I cruise around still, and I check Facebook, and I check the forums and stuff, and there's people that just don't care to play these lame-o seasons.
No.
But there's nothing to add besides a couple bosses that you're going to get bored with, just like y'all got bored of the world bosses. There was no new world bosses.
Dude, the world bosses spawn like once in a blue moon, and, well, yeah, that's pretty much it. If you miss it, you miss it. It is what it is.
I do think that like the reason why the bosses like Duriel and like that beast of the ice or something like that, and like the vampire guy, the reason why I think, and Varshan, I think why they're gonna last longer is because they have specific drops, whereas like world bosses don't drop anything that has any value, and you can't farm world bosses. They're
well, you can't farm them, but they do drop an abysmally large amount of stuff, though.
completely, you know, like not random spawn, but like they're inconvenient spawn for a lot of people. Like they just don't, like there's nothing special about killing a world boss in the same way that there's something special about killing one of these other bosses, because that's one of the reasons why like PoE is great, is that like if you want a Watcher's Eye, you've got to go kill Elder. If you want a the Savior sword, you've got to go kill Cirrus. If you want a elevated sextant thing or elevated,
yeah, but that's what they're gonna technically do with this, right? I mean, every item is gonna still drop and can drop from absolutely any mob, but these certain mobs are now gonna have a very, very elevated chance of dropping a certain item, which is kind of good, you know? It's almost the same thing, honestly.
influence thing. I think you have to do Maven. You know, you want to get Ashes to Dust, you've got to go do Searing Exarch. So like each of these bosses has value because there's something that they drop that provides value. Does that make sense?
Okay. Also, everyone here is missing the actual point why, for example, I'm actually happy with this, and I think this is a good update. Because they added an endgame activity, an endgame reason of existence for everything. The Whispering Tree now takes you to the boss. Helltides take you to the boss. Dungeons take you to the boss. This takes you to the boss. This and that and this and that. Everything you do, you're gonna slowly accumulate something to take you to a boss which has a better chance of dropping something really good. Okay? And even if you're not farming for it, it still gives longevity. It still gives an extra layer of feeling of getting rewarded and feeling of something being changed. And that's great. That's really, really fun in my opinion. That's really good. Because it's an extra layer. It's something that you can look forward to. You know? Now you're not just grinding monotonously dungeons non-stop. Now there's an extra thing there that you're going to slowly accumulate and be like, oh, exciting, I'm going to go and do it, blah, blah, blah. That kind of stuff.
Make sense? So if you have a new boss that you add into the game that drops something unique and special, and farming that boss isn't completely out of the way and annoying, but like you'll just kind of get it passively the way you do with a lot of PoE bosses, and also I think this is the way it's going to work with Diablo 4 as well, then I think people will be okay with it. And I think that it will actually add more content for them to do.
Yeah, they reduce some timers and stuff. That's just number adjustments. I think really what it is I'm really sick of the basic skill, like the generator spender combo. Why couldn't we got some new skills? Why couldn't we have gotten reworked items or sets?
I agree with him on this, is that I think that the way...
No, he said sets. You don't agree with this. The moment they add sets to Diablo 4, I'm never gonna log in again. Sets completely destroyed any potential Diablo 3 ever had. And sets are gonna do the exact same thing for Diablo 4 if they get introduced.
That the basic skills, like I don't think they're gonna add in new basic skills realistically, but what they should do is they should make uniques that like they ascend your basic skills. Like they make your basic skill like a really, really powerful core skill, or a really, really powerful like you know, class specific skill. Right? That would be...
Asmon, when he said basic skills, he literally means everything, not just not just the first skill that you use that is literally called basic skill. He means everything: core skills, macabre skills, fire skills, ice skills, everything. He means everything with that. He's just calling it base skills, as in the skill pool. We need more of those. Yes.
Really cool. Because like and like that unique you could get from like an in-game boss or something like that. Because yeah, I think augments, right? Like awaken the skill. Yeah, awakening of the skill. I think that sounds the coolest, right? Of like how I would imagine it in my head. Because like imagine if you use like, you know, like that that druid one where like you hit him with the staff and it hits like 2 different targets? What if you could get an awakening for that, and it was like a massive slam, and it would chain between everything, and it would just look really cool, right? Like in order to get that, you'd have to do like really hard content. That would be awesome.
So like basically what they're doing is they're just drip feeding us just little content, so we'll log on to make sure they hit their monthly active user number, right? Which is another reason why it went to Steam, because they count outside stuff as a separate metric that they can tie in with the monthly active user, so it just gives...
I think that there's 2 reasons why it went to Steam. The first reason is he's totally right about this, that one of the big reasons it went to Steam probably is because the users is going down a lot. So Blizzard needs to pull out all the stops and make sure that they have as many people as possible playing the game, so the investors don't realize that...
I'm like looking at him and it's like, hey, fuck, do I not have a similar shade currently happening? Holy shit, I don't want to be a neck beard. Bro, I have a chin, you know? You don't... If you don't have a chin, yeah, get a beard. It's gonna hide it pretty well, but if you have a chin, like... You know, you don't have a beard.
They're completely fucking the game up and fire everybody that works there. So that's number 1. I think also number 2 is that I don't think it's really a coincidence that it happened right after the lawsuit for, what do you call it? I'm right? No, I think you are, man.
Blizzard got a lawsuit?
The Hawk TV. There he is. What's up, man? And, yeah. Like, I do think that you're right about this. Of course it's for monthly active users. But the other reason I do think that... I think this was something that Activision Blizzard worked out with Microsoft, that they're going to move some Battle.net games over to Steam, so it seems like they don't have as much of a monopoly. That's what I think the big issue is that...
Worked out? Bruh, they don't need to work out anything. Microsoft literally just tells them, okay, you move all your games to Steam as fast as possible now. Your deadline is this year. They don't need to work shit out. Dude, you don't understand how ownership of a company works, it seems like, okay? You don't have to have a vote. You don't have to do anything. You just email them and tell them this is what you're gonna do right now and go fuck yourself. You don't need to work anything out. And obviously, no, that's stupid. That's not how monopolies work, okay? It being on Steam literally changes nothing for monopolies. This idea is a complete woeful lack of understanding what the word monopoly means and how it is in real life actually looked at in the courtroom or whatever. No, moving the Blizzard IPs to Steam doesn't change what it already is. That is the stupidest thing I have actually heard in quite a bit. It makes no sense at all. In fact, he's not even a 0.1% right about any of that. That's kind of hilarious.
I don't think it's a coincidence that all of these things started going to Steam right after the big lawsuit about it being antitrust.
That's so stupid.
I think that's probably the main reason, or I mean, there's 2 reasons. Which one is the more important one doesn't really matter.
The average player numbers. Admittedly, average player numbers just essentially means, you know, how many people are playing the game. It has nothing to do with average player numbers that play the game. They actually are looking mainly for retention and growth. If they can retain, that means that they can grow. If they can grow without retention, that's going to be a bad thing in the long con. Okay? But yeah. Oh, they put everything on Steam, so it's not a monopoly. Bruh, what are you... I can't.
The purpose is that I think there are 2 main reasons. It's like, yes, what he's saying, and also because of lawsuit liability in the future.
More monthly active users for the platform, and they're going to just continue to just, hey, here's this, here's this, here's this, and guess what? You get back on the train and you ride it in and you give them the numbers they need, and then the next month there'll be an XP boost event, and so you'll log on again to see what that is, and then the next month there'll be the next season. This is just how they're going to keep doing it until the expansion comes, where they're going to give you Monk and Paladin, and then a couple extra things. And
They need to give us Paladin, I'll tell you that. Like,
True.
they absolutely need to give us Paladin.
I actually want Amazon. I want Amazon. Amazon is not good. Dude, just copy paste the Amazon from the Diablo 2. Copy paste the assassin from Diablo 2. It doesn't interfere with any existing class. It's already unique enough to be its own thing. It's great. It's absolutely 100% great. Just do it. Just give me my Javazon. Please. Please. Just do it. It's not... Put me in, Chief. Put me in.
And, like, also, I don't have a problem, like... You know, some people are of the mind that whenever you see the man behind the machine, you can never believe that it's a fantasy again, right? Where it's kind of like, as soon as you can see that this is a video game that's...
That's what's it called? Oz reference or whatever? Yeah, no, that's not real life, though.
Made for profit, you can never enjoy the game. I
Yes,
think
you
that's kind of what I
can.
mean by that metaphor. Is that I don't really care if they're trying to up a monthly.
The metaphor is not used in these situations.
Monthly users. It doesn't
Bro.
really matter to me. What matters is if the game isn't fun to play. And like, I don't care like if they're trying to get people back by doing something that's, you know, an experience booster event or whatever. The problem is if it's not enjoyable, because like every game does this. Every game has promotions like this.
Yeah.
But it's about whether it's actually enjoyable.
At least he said that, because that was what I was gonna say. Every game already does this. We already know how this works out.
And it adds value to the player. Which in Season 1, they really didn't.
and charge you $50 for it.
Yeah.
And then,
By the way, the interesting thing you can think about in this situation is how the world's slowly actually shifting with these things. Because when these ideas first came out, that we're gonna add an experience season, we're gonna add this, we're gonna add that. Yeah, when that initially started, people were like, I'm fearing of missing out. But now no one gives a shit. Now no one gives a shit. The market is so oversaturated with games doing all of these things. No one cares any longer. It's not special. It's not a special event. Okay? So these tactics, they only work on the most desperate people who currently have absolutely nothing to play and how to spend their time. So, it for the majority of people, it doesn't matter. An XP week. Well, who gives a shit? The XP week is going to be back next week anyway. Not actually missing out on anything.
just keep going and going to where we're at about season 9, and we're like, damn, the game's pretty good. And that's how they do it. It's live service
Yeah,
at its
finally, when the game's good, they'll add the expansion that will reset it.
Yes,
finest,
true.
live
True.
development. This is just a big mousetrap. That's all it is. Because what's going to happen is you're still going to get in there. You're going to play with the same old, same stuff, except for the seasonal powers, which is going to be gone in 3 months. And there's going to be a meta on because they're used against...
Well, it's not going to be gone in 3 months, probably. Well, I don't know. Maybe it is going to be. But Cage Hearts are staying, obviously. Yeah, they're staying. Cage Hearts are going to still be a thing in Season 2.
Or across every character in the game. And then you're going to sit here in about a week and you're going to go, well, damn. Because it's the same thing with D3. I went back and
Well, this is also a problem that, like... This is a problem that Diablo has that PoE doesn't have. That meta builds have like an internal. What's the way to say this? Like there's an internal,
Lifespan.
correcting mechanism for meta builds in PoE because most players operate through the economy of the game. So whenever there's
now it doesn't make sense. Okay.
lot of people playing, let's say, Carrion Golem or Righteous Fire, or Arc, right? These are really, really popular spells in PoE.
True.
Then the price of those materials and like those items is so high that it's prohibitive, and it actually becomes better to play something that's a little bit more less popular, right? Like Blade Vortex. Blade Vortex is also extremely popular, but not as popular as Righteous Fire, I would assume, right?
Probably.
So that's how like PoE has like its internal correcting mechanism for everybody playing the same build, because gear is harder to come by because it's much more complex and granular, and there's much more like nuance to it. But with
Wait. This argument doesn't apply to Diablo 4. Because in Diablo 4, your build is going to be pretty much determined, honestly, by the stuff that's getting dropped. You have no way to trade for the stuff you want because you can't trade legendaries. And your builds are defined by the affixes that you find. You can literally not play certain builds without certain affixes. And you only switch to those certain builds when you have the certain affixes. And there's a chance you never find them. There's a chance you never find them. I remember I watched a Quinn video when he said, well, I made my druid and I found 9 of those helms. You know, druids have like that one helm that everyone wants because that completely just, you know, makes you it just gives you the ability to play pretty much everything, right? It's the main and best item that you need on a druid 100%. And he said he found 9 of them while playing. Okay? And other people are complaining, well, that they never find a single one of them, you know? And that's the thing. Maybe you will never find those items. For my Necromancer, for example, I found 3 unique Necromancer items constantly. Turns out there's like 7 unique Necromancer items, right, that you can have. But I found only 3 of them constantly. The amulet that makes you cast Blood Nova when you use it from skeletons also, you know, your summons. And the one that makes Corpse Explosion seek out a target. I found those 2 constantly. Constantly without fail. I didn't even know other items existed. Turns out there's a lot. There were like 3 or 4 or 5 other unique Necromancer items. I was clueless. So yeah, the prohibitive part, what makes meta things unmeta, is the fact that you may never actually get them. You may literally never roll the dice on finding them.
Diablo, you only have 4 stats. Like, I'm going to be honest. I think that whenever you get to 900 item level gear, you should have 5 stats on it. I think gear needs to have 5 stats. Because it's too easy to get 4 stat gear that's good. I do. I think it's just simply too easy.
Played the last season, or the season's going on right now.
The reason why it's too easy, by the way, to get a 4 stat gear that's too good, he doesn't understand the inherent problem. The inherent problem is the fact that in Diablo, the itemization is just way too simplistic. There's only 3 things that you care about. Attack speed, crit damage, crit rate, and vulnerability. Okay, that's 4 things. But most of these items can only roll 1 or 2 of those affixes at the same time. So, yeah, adding a 5th roll means nothing. Because, you know, that doesn't make it harder to roll a perfect item, because the perfect item is crit rate plus vulnerability damage. That's it. That's literally it. So, you know, that's a fundamental just misunderstanding of why the gear is as it is.
There's no, like, chase items.
I got to 70, and I was like, I'm good.
And the chase items that you do have, you have, like, the thing is with PoE, right? Is that you can have a chase item, but there are ways for you to chase after it. Whereas in Diablo 4, and this is going to be changed a little bit with Season 2.
Yep.
But in general, this is a big problem I have with Diablo 3. This is why I quit Reaper of Souls, is because I no longer had control over the progress of my character. All I had to do is just simply play the game again and again and again, and hope that maybe I'll get something good.
True.
You see what I'm saying? Like, that's what was boring about it.
True.
That's what's going to happen again. But as long as they got their number count for the month,
let me explain how actually meaningful this is, because a couple of people don't understand it. If you offer people 2 choices, one choice is you just play for the sake of playing, and there's a good chance that something good that will upgrade you will drop. You just need to keep playing. Versus, this item will almost never drop, but you have a path to it. It does. People are gonna choose the item will never drop, but I have a goal to achieve almost in huge droves more than, well, I'm just gonna play at random and, you know, as time passes, I'm just gonna get stuff. Because there's no goal there. You're just mindlessly repeating the same activity, and you're just hoping to be rewarded at random. People want to see a goal. People want to see the finish line. People want to know that what they are doing is gonna matter, and they want to see that it matters. Now, the first option was gonna reward you, but you had no idea when, you had no idea with what, and that's why people don't like it. People will choose something that's never achievable as long as they know that they can achieve it. Which doesn't make sense as a sentence, but it does make sense as a thought.
They're good. So, again, it's just, you know, he managed expectation, 2 hours of live stream for this one live stream. We're going to have 2 hours the next time. And it was a PowerPoint presentation about broken things in the game, like teleport to the Nightmare Dungeon, now puts you in the Nightmare Dungeon. So
which is an improvement, and this is better. I appreciate them doing this. This is good.
Basically, they created a problem, and then the next season they fixed the problem.
No, they created the problem, then they further iterated to make the problem worse. Then they refused to admit that there is a problem, and now they're selling it as a seasonal thing, a huge update that they finally fixed it. It's way worse than that.
And then
And he's right. This should have never been the case. He is right. Absolutely. An entire season to do that. Fixes aren't features. I really like that. We should use that more. Fixes aren't features.
How long have we been saying that?
Look how good we did. And everybody eats it up like, oh, man, it's getting better every time. Well, of course, this is the plan. They're going to do this every time.
Mm-hmm.
They did it with D3. They're going to do it with D4. Yep. They'll do it with D5. They'll do it with D8. It's just the way it is. But, yeah, that's. I mean, I don't need to tell you what happened with it. Everybody knows.
Yep.
A lot of people watched. It was boring. And, yeah, there were some good things, but it's to be expected. There wasn't anything that blew my mind. And Rod talked about that there was going to be so much stuff that it was going to be the greatest season. And it's just more of the same. That's all it is.
I am very satisfied with the season. I'll have to say I am happy about it. But he's right that half of the things they announced were fixes. And the other half of things that they announced were...
I'm also satisfied with this season. I think it could be way better than expected because, again, they did add some endgame things that that give point in what you are doing, that give progression towards what you are doing, and that's what I want. That's what a lot of people want. You know, the fact that they're selling the fixes as seasonal content, I don't give a shit about that. I'm honestly thankful that these losers, these absolutely talentless hacks, fixed it at all. Honestly, at this point, I have completely forsaken the idea that they will ever fix base skills. Sorcerers are only going to have ice shots to play with probably for the rest of D4's existence.
Things that PoE did 10 years ago. He is right. And this is something that, like, again, I am positive whenever the game is positive and whenever things are getting better, and I am negative whenever they're getting worse. So I am positive. I will try out Season 2, but he is right. This does not... Like, it doesn't reinvent the wheel. Complaining about video games is so lame. Well, I mean, we're not really complaining. We're just talking about it, right? I mean, it's not like I'm not...
Bro, I'm going to complain about video games all the time. If you want to be some feckless loser who gets to eat shit and be happy about it, you do you, boo. But I'm going to complain, okay? If the developer's doing bad, I'm going to complain. If the developer's doing good, I'm going to still complain. Because the moment you tell these losers you did good, they're going to be like, okay, time to take a breather for 2 years and not do anything else useful. No, you never tell a developer they're doing good. You just constantly pile it on how miserable, stupid, and bad they are. So they never stop making and developing further. The moment you compliment a developer for something good, you have lost as a consumer. No, The developers are always trash, always bad, always stupid, incompetent, and they should do better. Never is there a different situation. You never compliment the devs.
Like mauling or anything. I'm just saying, like, yeah, this is it. You got surf shit on release. They give you a quality of life change, and you're positive now. It's such a small W. Yeah. I will always be positive whenever I get something I want. The reason why is that I think that's the most effective way to get things that you want. Because if you're negative whenever you get things that you want, there's no benefit to giving people what they want, because it won't change their behavior or their feelings. So I usually, I act in a way that is...
Yeah, that doesn't work like that.
Like most I try to, like, I don't really act how I feel. I act in a way that achieves a goal. Does that make sense? Yeah, no. Positive feedback is like dog training. Exactly, yes. And it's good that Blizzard finally played the game.
Bruh. How has your positive feedback worked so far? How has this worked so far? How can you say, this works to achieve a goal? Nah, look at Blizzard. You reward them for doing something good, and then they fuck it up even harder the next time. What has positive feedback achieved at Blizzard? Absolutely nothing but disaster. Absolutely nothing. Positive feedback doesn't work in these situations. This is not real. This is not real life. When you can talk to someone, you can first hit them and then explain to them what they need to do to not get hit again. Okay? You need to constantly hit them in this situation.
You're promoting shit games over and over is why you keep getting shit games?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like, I mean, I make YouTube videos about them. It's good for me. This is a good video.
Cool.
I think it's definitely a reality check. I'll go ahead and link.
Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's pretty much it. This was Chris Sin. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.